I have a webinar tonight. We're going to be posting links to that in the chat right here. And it's going to be talking about this bull market. I know we got to pull back today. We're going to be talking about that. But overall, this is a pretty strong market. We've been making a lot of money in here. And what I want to be able to do is tell you guys some of the stuff that I've been doing and how I've been doing it and teach you how to trade the way that I trade. So what we're going to be looking at is last week, even when the market had a dip, I made $1 million in two accounts, two separate accounts. So that was a really, really great day. I've been talking about that one a lot because, hey, fun number, right? And then I think that there's still a lot of stuff to be very bullish about generally. You know, the market's just going to do its normal ebb and flow, and sometimes it gets a little bit tired. We're going to be talking about that as well. But come over here and chat with me, or come check out the webinar with me. It's going to be tonight, 7 p.m. Central. And yeah, it should be a great time. So come check this link out. We're going to put it in the chat, and so that should be all good. And yeah, I think everything is going to be fine. So I am not quite seeing my chat, so that might be an issue. We'll have to see what's going on here. Sometimes you, All right, well, I'm going to keep plowing through. Maybe I'll get some questions elsewhere. So the other thing, if you guys are looking for where you can find me, there we go. There's the chat now. It's up and running. Is that over here at profitpilot.com, and you can go check out, yeah, first $1 million profit, and then some other stuff that we have going on. So let's get into the markets, because I know everybody's wondering what is going on, and I know my account is down today, but it's okay. We're going to see where that kind of goes, and it's really just kind of a matter of figuring out how many positions that you can hang on to and still be okay. So I was telling my subscribers today that my girlfriend yesterday, I was telling her, like, hey, you know, I'm expecting the market to pull back and roll over. She's like, well, why don't you get completely out of the market? It's like, well, because there are still names that go up even during a down market, and there are names that just don't move. Like they don't go down. They just don't budge even when the market's pulling back. And those are the names that are strong. Those are the names that you do want to be in. And so that's where it's kind of it's the guessing game of trying to figure out, okay, which ones are going to be strong, which ones do we need to watch out for, and which ones are going to hit us pretty hard. That's always kind of the name of the game when it comes to trading. So that's where we're at. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, Gus, LaDonna, Terry. Yeah, good to see everybody. So I always love that I got a bunch of the Moxie members in this Facebook and YouTube situation. And it's a great time. So you guys always add a lot to this, and I do appreciate you all. The Moxie room has been growing, I'll tell you that. So I guess I'm doing something right. A lot of people want to come over and see what all the hubbub is about and see about those $1 million days, right? All right, so let's do this. Yeah, LaDonna, I was wondering. I got my alert triggered on HTOO. Something's just not going to hold up when the market starts to pull back like this. But and this is why we operate with stops. You know, I know that we get some new traders and new subscribers in here, and they look at stops as like a bad thing. They look at you getting hit with a stop like, oh, you made a bad choice or you made a bad trade. Okay, sometimes that might be it. You know, whatever, we try our best, we get into something, and it doesn't work out. But that is the whole point of a stop. It's a safety valve. I much rather get stopped out than just keep hanging on to a position that I'm like, well, it probably won't go any further. And then it keeps going further. And like, well, if I just give it a little bit more time, maybe it'll do something. And it just never does. And next thing you know, instead of a 6% loss, you're now dealing with like a 20 or 25% loss and a whole lot of headache. And now you got to dig yourself out of the hole. So I love stops. I love when these things happen because that means that, number one, the market's falling apart and that you need to get out and things aren't working. It was the same thing like when the whole coronavirus thing happened and the market ripped down. You know, stops are popping off left and right. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And you start looking around, you're like, oh, this thing's really serious. Like everything is starting to go down. And it's like your safety valves are just going off and it's great. So then it just gets you out of the market and your damage is reduced. So it's just, you got to make sure that your stops are kind of at the right place, not too big. You know, it's really kind of a guessing game. You try and say, okay, where do I think price won't go? And if it goes there, then I was wrong, or maybe it just moved further, and that's how I protect myself. So that's what it is. Yeah, LaDonna, sometimes we win big and sometimes we lose a little. That's exactly right. I have been routinely, and I think I've been posting this someplace, in the last few months, I have been routinely posting triple-digit gains on individual stocks. Like we just cashed that thing in for 225%. Space was like 96%. I can't even remember all of these names that we were really, really doing well. And even at that, CBAT today, up today. You know, it's getting pulled back a little bit because, well, everything is, and it had a pretty big vertical jump. But yeah, that's a good name. You know, we want to be in something like that and actually be along for the ride. Some of the other ones, how about SNDL? This one's good. We've been in this thing, what did we get? Like something around here, and we took some off at about 270%. Yeah. So, you know, when you're making 270% on some of these trades, you can give back a little bit here and there. And the reason why I don't want to be completely out of the market is because look at SNDL. Yeah, it's down today, but is it really falling apart? It actually looks like it's holding up fairly well. And a lot of the cannabis stocks are holding up fairly well. So we'll get into that, but let me circle back around to the S&P and talk about this. So one of the things, one of my favorite setups, one of my favorite conditions when it comes to the market, to the Moxie indicator and how this works, is what I call a trampoline move. And a trampoline move, and this is what we're going to be talking about tonight, and we're going to be teaching it on the 20th, which is this coming Saturday. I've got a big class coming up if you guys are interested. A trampoline move is when price is below the 50, but the Moxie indicator is above 0. Now, we can't just go, you know, like randomly buy that just because that condition exists. Like, I'm not going to just go buy the market and say, hey, this is a trampoline move right now. No, there are some nuances, there are some rules that are involved that I'm going to be teaching about. So while I see the condition potentially setting up, we need to actually wait for it to happen and wait for it to trigger. But I see this, I'm like, okay, this could be some good stuff, but we have to keep waiting until we actually see it develop and see it trigger. The other thing that I was looking at is that the market was kind of far off of the hourly 50, unsupported, and now we're back at the hourly 50. So I'm giving a little bit of time to see where this thing goes. One other thing I'll kind of just tell everybody else who's out there and getting all this freebie information is that the market will follow the daily 8 EMA when the market is very strong and going very quickly. You know, high energy pushing the thing along. But you know, when it kind of runs out of that steam, that really like hard and fast, like really strong stuff, a lot of times it's going to have to come back down and find kind of the next layer of support. And oftentimes that next layer of support is the daily 21, which we can see here. And that's kind of what I'm wondering is going to start happening. Now, this might take a little bit of time to happen. We don't know how quickly or drastic or fast or brutal this might be, and it may not happen. But these are the things that we kind of need to be aware of, like where does the market tend to like to go? And if it does go there, how is that going to affect your kind of position? So that's kind of what we need to be concerned about and look out for. So yeah, that's going to be the overall market. Now, I have not looked at the UVXY today, surprisingly enough. And no surprise, the UVXY is coming up a little bit. But it's not looking, I don't know, doesn't look like it's super excited to really get going someplace. It still has a little bit of work, but I was talking to the Moxie people here. We had price down, we had the Moxie indicator up. There we started to see some positive divergences. It kind of looked like a double bottom here on the 15. And I just said, hey, you know, guys, be aware of this. We need to make sure that everything's going to be okay here in this situation. So, you know, if you have some really names that are really high, those are going to be probably prone to pulling back. If you have names that are already pulled back, they might be doing a little bit better. All right. Damien, do I day trade with Moxie? I don't personally day trade, but the way that I teach and how I teach with the indicator, all the principles that I have here on the daily, the hourly, and the 15 work well for day trading. And I have Moxie set up on the 15, the 5, and the 2 minute. And so yeah, if day trading is your jam, you can do it with Moxie, and all the rules that I teach and all the principles are still the same. Yeah, Gus, I know UVAS has earnings in 2 days. You know, I might reduce my position, but it's, you know, it's kind of holding up. This is one of those things, like you're going to roll the dice on earnings. What's the deal? But overall, this looks like a pretty strong name. Like you look at what's happening, and it's holding up fairly well compared to the market. And we are still sitting right here at the hourly 50, but we do have earnings. So this is one of those things. Anything goes for earnings. Anything goes. They could have great earnings and still go down. They could have bad earnings, go up. Anything happens. So that is where oftentimes I don't really want to deal with that kind of risk. And so I either get out completely or I just reduce it and say, hey, whatever's left, I'm just going to roll the dice. So that's going to be one of those things where maybe when it gets a little bit closer, I'll decide if we need to reduce positions on that. Yeah, Sikar, SPY is in a trampoline move right now, but it's not confirmed. And that's the kind of stuff that I talk about and teach in the class and in my mastery program, all that kind of stuff. All right. Irene, if you're looking for good penny stocks, may I suggest you actually look for a little bit better quality. Penny stocks are very, very difficult to trade because, well, they're penny stocks, and you don't get institutions down there. You want to deal with stocks that have institutions that tend to have a little bit more predictability and a little bit more money flow. It's the Wild West when you go down to penny stocks. I know it's appealing because they're cheap, but if I had $100 or $500 to put someplace and I was new, I'd want to be putting it with a quality name that's actually going to be doing something until I kind of figured some stuff out. So don't let the sticker price, fool you. Just because a stock is $1 versus $30, there's quality in there. There's a reason that stock is $30, right? Now, I'm not afraid to trade some of these penny stocks, but I need to trade the ones that follow the rules and move the way that I want it to move. It's out there. Like I'll show you KNOS. We'll see how this thing's doing. Now, KNOS, it's 10 cents. And I told my people, I said, look, this is a complete lotto trade. Be willing to kiss this money goodbye if we take this, just because, so whatever. But it followed the rules. It did everything I wanted it to. The chart was nice. It was clean. It behaved well. It moved smoothly. There was good volume in it. Everything lined up across the board. We even got a Moxie price trigger right here, and price came into the daily 50, and it held the 15-minute 50, and the Moxie indicator also looked good. Everything looked good. And I thought, hey, does it matter if this thing's 10 cents or could it be $100? It doesn't matter. The chart looked good. And so we went in on it. We got in on it on Friday. Good news came out, and this thing then doubled yesterday. It went up 165% yesterday. It's down to 92% right now. And we're going to be hanging on to this thing. So I think that good news is here to stay, and that's something fun. So, Irene, if you want something like that, there's a little bit of a freebie. We'll just have to see where it goes because, if you guys aren't in the Moxie Mastery in my alert service, there's no way for me to help guide you. So, not held responsible. Don't sue us. This is for educational purposes only. There's our little boilerplate, and all we're trying to do is give my view and opinion of the market out there. None of this is advice or telling you what to actually do. Can made a huge trade on that one. Got out just a little bit early, but I'm okay with this because, this thing was getting awfully stretched. I kind of figured if you occasionally look at the overnight, if you look at the overnight here, you can see that Can popped up and then sold back off. And I had a feeling, I was like, that's probably going to be the end of the move for the day. Not to mention that the market was looking a little bit weak today. So at some point, all things are going to have to deal with gravity, right? At some point, gravity is going to kick in on this stuff. But we had a really, a really, really good trade with this one. As I said, we got like 225, something around there, % out of that one. Yeah, so Resort, I know, not everybody could get that KNOS trade. Some brokers don't allow it. Some of it was crazy volume. Yeah, I know. That's why I said it's a lotto trade. I did 1% of my account on that thing. So, Tim, yeah, it's simplertrading.com/Moxie. Sarah will be posting links in the room for you so that everybody can get it. All right, so some of the other names that I've been looking at. Amazon, of course, is the big dog. These things have been going nowhere for quite some time. Now, that's not necessarily a terrible thing. You just need to understand that these really big names are kind of in a resting mode. They have been resting. And actually, that's what I'm going to be talking about tonight, is that while these big names have been going nowhere, or while ZM, Zoom, has been pulling back, I have been killing it in the market. Ever since November, since the vaccine came out, risk was on. I've been making, I think the total was something around 700 or 800% in 4 months, all while ZM has pulled back 40%, all while Amazon has gone sideways. So we're having a really good time in the market out there, and people have been seeing that, and they are coming and flocking to the Moxie alert service and checking it out and have a good time. So Amazon, it's kind of looking this, likely to pull back to the daily 50, also likely to bounce off of the hourly 200. Now you see here, just yesterday and into today, price is holding the 15-minute 50, the Moxie indicator is looking good. This thing looks like it's starting to set up. This is why, with the S&P pulling back, I'm not worried about it. It's not like Chicken Little and the sky is falling. It's a pullback. It's something that's necessary. Everything was overbought. It needed to come back down. But I think that the bull market, I think that the uptrend is still intact. there are still names that are going up today, even though the market is going down. And what that tells me is that this market is still generally strong. It's just it needs to kind of do its thing. And of course, that's going to affect some positions. So, I think we've gotten stopped out of 3 trades today. No big deal. We let them do their thing. And when things shape back up, we get back in. But Amazon's still looking pretty good. How about MSFT? Microsoft, looking great. Does this look like a terrible market? Not at all. The only issue with Microsoft is that it's so high. And I think I was just talking to our options people yesterday, and I said, I would not be surprised if the Microsoft price was going to fall off of the hourly 50. Said that yesterday. I got all these indications. Look at this Moxie indicator, not looking so hot. It's underneath the 0. Price start to oscillate a little bit. Even here, look at this. We got the Moxie price triggered to the downside. And look, then we got price falling through the hourly 50. How's that for timing? And you could see this stuff coming from a mile away. You see that price is going sideways. Look at the Moxie indicator. Down, 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 down. And then when it hits 0, that's when price breaks through the hourly 50. I love the Moxie indicator. It does really well. This is everything I'm going to be teaching on the class on Saturday. I'm going to be teaching a class on Saturday the 20th. And if you guys are interested in learning more about that class and what we're going to be doing, I believe... See if I can find it. Nope, let's do one of these. I got so many. There we go. How about this? simplertrading.com/million. And this is going to be the webinar talking about the class coming up. So if you guys don't know me, if you want to learn a little bit more about me, then this is where you can kind of find some more stuff. It's a free webinar. We're going to be talking for, well, the presentation is probably just under an hour, and then I answer questions for probably 20, 30 minutes afterwards. So this is a pretty good introduction to me if you guys are interested in checking it out. And then we have the class over here. So it's going to be a good time. I always love doing this stuff. And I know you guys get all jazzed up. I mean, that's the whole point. Yeah, sure, we're selling stuff, but we got to be able to build the platform in order to get it out there to you. And we just have a good time. There's a reason that people are coming to the market. There's a reason why my alert service is growing. And there's a reason why I'm making this kind of money. And I love doing it. I love helping everybody. So let's see. Gwen, yeah, 225% on CAN. Good job. Crypto, I don't trade crypto directly, but GBTC, I'm looking at this, it's looking a little hot, looking a little extended. I was talking about this yesterday. I said it's unlikely that it's going to keep pushing up. Yesterday is an update, but I'm looking at this, looking extended. So I'm looking at this, looking extended, and I'm looking at the Moxie indicator here on the 15. It's not terrible, but I'm not seeing a ton of strength. So at some point, I'm looking at crypto, I'm looking at Bitcoin, I'm looking at Riot, Mara, CAN, all the Bitcoin-related stocks. I'm looking at them to kind of rest, take a break, pull back, doing something, but I would not be initiating a position here because I don't think it's going to keep going up much from this point. So we do need to be careful about that. All right. Yeah, Ashman, good to see you. Glad you are, checking out here. I'm glad you're coming into some of these live sessions so that you can get a little bit more information, more education. Yeah, Imran, good to see you. Jackie, so what account size is minimum for your service? Literally anything. All you need is enough money to buy one share of a few different stocks and you can trade. Literally, that's all you need. I think that's what I tell people. If you have $100, you can go buy a share of a $20 stock. You can go buy a share of a $50 stock. What is that? Then you can go buy two shares of a $15 stock, or you can buy one share of a 30. All you need is to be able to buy one share of a few different stocks, and then you can trade. That's all you need. There is no minimum size. All right, yeah, Neo, the electric car stuff, the EVs, they just have been hanging out. Now, this is kind of the thing where you need maybe some experience, or you look at your charts. Yeah, Neo's down today. Am I concerned? No. If anything, I'd be looking at this as a buying opportunity at some point. I don't want to be buying a falling knife. I don't want to catch a falling knife. But I'm looking at this and saying, it's really just not going anywhere. It's just, look at this. It's just been going sideways for weeks. Now, that's not fun. I'd love for it to be going up, but it's not ready. You got to think about these things. Like they're sprinters, they're athletes, they're running, and then they get tired and they have to rest. And the way they rest is just by going sideways. Like, look at Amazon, look at Apple, Adobe. They're all just going sideways right now. The big dogs are just resting, waiting for the next opportunity, and that's where the timing kind of comes in. So we'll see what's going on with this one. It's still just in range. We're just hanging out. How about Tesla? Now, I've been talking about this one for a while. It's always a bit of a guess as to where price is going to go or how far down it's going to stop, anything like that. Oh, look, I got like a nice little, I feel like a Care Bear. I got my my heart power coming out from the light. Got a nice little reflection here. Either that or maybe I'm Power Man. All right, so Tesla, I've been talking about this since about here. I said, I think this is too high. I think that there's too much distance between price and the daily 50, and it looks like price wants to come back down to the daily 50. And there we go. We're at the daily 50. Now, can I just go buy it? No, that's not my style. I don't see anything on the lower time frames that says, yes, price is going to stop here and it's going to turn around. I don't see that yet, but it's a good target to look at and say, hey, now price is at the daily 50. Let's see if it starts to hold and if we can get some more information. You know, the same thing, the hourly chart. 8 is still below the 21. Price is still below the 50. The Moxie indicator is still below 0. This thing just kind of keeps dropping. And really, the detail for me is here on the 15-minute time frame. Look, price has not held the 15-minute 50. It keeps getting pushed down by the 15-minute 50. So until we see that change, until we see that turnaround, I'm just hanging out. I'm not in it. I'm just waiting. And that's the kind of stuff that we need to look at. Same thing with NEO. I just haven't seen a fresh setup yet, so I haven't done anything. Gus, yeah, EVs are recharging. They're using Tesla's solar panels to try and cash up. And with all that weather that we are getting in Austin, there's not enough sunlight to charge the batteries, and that's the problem. You know, now that Elon Musk has moved Tesla to Austin, they just don't have enough sun to charge those batteries. So, yeah, I think that's what's happening. Yeah. All right. Jason, I don't really have much suggestions when it comes to options. I'm not really an options trader. When I do dabble with options, I just buy straight calls. I like to have plenty of meat on the bone. Like, I like to have plenty of time. I don't want to be buying like a weekly option and have that thing just evaporate on me. And I don't want to buy usually like 30 days. I like 30 days out and beyond. I'm a stock trader. I don't do anything fancy with options. And so if I'm going to be doing options or calls, I want it to just basically be like a more exciting stock. I just want an extra percentage. I just want a little extra pizzazz, but I want some safety, and I don't want that theta to be working against me too far. So I buy some pretty long out there options if I'm going to be doing something. Joe, yeah, I saw GOEV. I like the idea. Hasn't happened yet. You see this? It just hasn't happened yet. Like, it keeps getting rejected by the underside of the hourly 50. Now, I see that the Moxie indicator is here. Some of you were pretty savvy and you said, yeah, trampoline move. Like, the S&P is in a trampoline move right now. So is GOEV. This is a trampoline move. When price is below the 50, but the Moxie indicator is above 0, that's a trampoline move. But we have to wait for it to confirm. We can't just go buy it because there's no telling that this won't keep falling down. It could totally keep falling down because price is still underneath these moving averages. So we have to wait. I've got the checklist, I've got the rules, and this is everything that I talk about and how I teach over and over and over, and it keeps me out of things like this so I don't just willy-nilly buy something and be like, oh darn, why isn't it working? It's not working because it's not following the rules yet. It hasn't finished my checklist, and this is why I love the checklist. I know what I need to do. I look at a chart, I look at my checklist, and I say, how's it doing? And then it reaches a point where you're like, oh, it's not answering what I need. It doesn't check all the boxes. So that's what we do there. So GOEV, let's look at Chewy. Chewy was doing great the other week. Last week, yeah, broke out. Yeah, we'll be talking about this in the class. This is the kind of stuff that, you know, we need to be prepared for. I could tell this thing was extended. Look at that big old gap right there. Now, that being said, I see another trampoline move. Here's price below the 50. The Moxie indicator is above 0. But can I just go buy that? No, because I'm not confirmed that price isn't done going down. It could keep going down further. So I'm going to wait until I see the next possible entry. Like back here, here's an entry right there. That was a great entry. And let's see, kind of over through, right there. That was a great entry. In fact, that was the same entry. And you can see here, bounce off the moving average. That was an entry. So we're just going to have to wait. You know, this market's pulling back. We just have to wait and see what's going on. Yeah, Fiona, you love my trades with options. You are killing it over there. So Fiona is one of our subscribers, and I put out just stock trades. I tell people what I'm getting in, where I think it's going to go, and how this thing's going to move. And people do their own trades. They will sell puts, or they'll buy calls, or they'll do this, do that. And Fiona is not shy about sharing her results on this stuff. And I guess for legal purposes, I can't actually tell the numbers because there's no way for us to verify it. So we don't want to get into an issue that we had with a competitor about fake numbers. But what I can tell you is, she is not shy about sharing her numbers, and she's doing remarkably well with whatever she's doing with those leaps, and doing a great time. So I'm here as a consultant to bring things to you, and then we work at it. Let's see, GSAT, nice trade, looking pretty good. Hard to say what's going on with these things. And this is the market that we have right now. This is how hot the market is we get things that are going from 4 cents to $2.50. This is the crazy market that we're getting. Look at that. That is 555%. This is why I'm telling you, this is why we're doing a class on the 20th, because we're going to talk about how to trade some of these things. Like, what kind of market are we in? But what you can see is that there is a nice ebb and flow of how something like this works. First off, I could see here, price getting a little overbought. It's a good idea to cash some stuff in. It's a good idea to just take some risk off because they don't just go up in a straight line. They always pull back. And then depending if you do options or something, it's good to take some off so that you can then ride this out. Because look at that. That's a long time to be riding that out. What? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days. 11 trading days that thing goes sideways. If you had a weekly option, it's toast. Even if you had a monthly option, it's toast. You need to know when to pull the money off and then go back in. And then you might say, okay, well, how do I know when to get back in? Well, that's what we're going to be teaching. But what I can show you is look at the Moxie indicator here, looking really, really good. And then look here at price on top of that moving average right there. This had a very, very clear re-entry move. Very clear re-entry move. And it followed all the Moxie rules. It followed that checklist I talk about. You can even see here, there's the Moxie price trigger. It all works. Now, GSAT's kind of been around. I have so many names to trade, it's unbelievable. I have more names that are moving out there and doing well than I know what to do with. And we've definitely freed up some space because we had a few things tick off on stop losses today. So, Fubo, yeah, I've been watching that one. So, Steven, I'm watching it. It's very close to being an entry. This is why I'm not really worried about this market, because things like Fubo look like they are just coiled up, just ready to go. They're like, okay, I just need the market to stop doing what it's doing, and as soon as it says we can go, I'm going to go. And so Fubo is one that is very, very high on my watch list. I'm looking at this thing. I'm seeing that it's starting to kind of put in a level. I've been watching the Moxie indicator move up. There's that positive divergence. I got a few other things that are talking to me. And yeah, I'm like looking at this thing, okay, just got to wait. Just looking at that checklist, waiting for that checklist to get all those boxes filled. And right now, not all those boxes are filled. And I look at the market and say, we need to kind of wait for the market. But yeah, Fubo. Man, that thing's going to be good one of these days. So we just have to wait. All right, so we'll kind of get back to this. Let's see, am I going to pick the right one? Got it. Okay. So just to kind of reiterate, because there's always people coming in this, it's always a free thing here on Facebook and YouTube and Periscope. Actually, Saleh, good to see you on Periscope. But yeah, come check it out, simplertrading.com/million. We're going to have a great time. It's going to be tonight. It's going to be about an hour. I'll be talking to you, showing you kind of what we're going to be getting into. And all of this is for a class that I'm going to be teaching on February 20th, Saturday. It's usually about 4.5 hours of solid information. And we do a deep dive into a lot of these things that I've traded, how we make these moves, how to do this. You guys are going to love this stuff. In fact, let me show you. Let me see if I can do this. I'll show you a preview about how I see things. This will be fun. How about here? I'll slide this over. So this is going to be a preview of how I see things. This is how I teach. This is how detailed it's going to be. If you guys want to get a really good grip on the market, if you want to see the market through the eyes of an engineer, this is how you do it. So I also kind of just gave away one of the tickers that I'm looking at out there right now. But I see things through a very precise lens. And if you guys like the way that I trade, come check me out, come learn from me, come do this kind of stuff. I eat it up every day, and I love the fact that I'm helping so many people out there. So that's all I can say. I think enough pitch, enough sales for right now. I'm going to get back to the market, make sure things are doing okay, and keep looking for the next opportunity, because there is going to be another opportunity coming up. All we have to do is be patient. All right, guys. Thanks again. We'll catch you later, and great seeing you.